Well,
Okay.
Do we have to wait for this to start up?
wait to get out.
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
I got it. It's coming.
Second.
All those in favor? Ready?
We're looking at the right thing now.
I think so.
All right.
All right. Number 3, approve the minutes from the August 2nd and August 8th, 2022 select board meetings.
So moved.
Seconded, moved and seconded. All those in favor? Number 4, approve and sign treasurer's warrant number 7. So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Did you get it all signed?
even though we haven't looked.
I haven't looked through all of it yet, but I will. We'll get to that. Number 5, communications. None. Move on. Number 6, speakers from the floor. Donna.
Well, the reason I've come is because I'm concerned that our CEO might not be getting the support from the entire town staff. As you probably all know, that there was some back and forth about the new restaurants that were opening up. And I just think that they might touch people the right way, the wrong way, whatever, but she always follows the rules and treats people fairly. And she deserves support.
Well, I think they're talking about the fact that, I don't think it was this last weekend, but the weekend before, I asked Faye, it was becoming quite contentious between Faye and people calling me and the owner of the restaurant calling me. And I said, we have the state inspectors coming next Wednesday. Can we just back off this weekend and have a peaceful weekend instead of having screaming matches? So I asked her as a courtesy to me and a favor to just back off for the weekend. And apparently that caused quite a stir. So that
What
was
restaurant are we
the
talking
background.
about?
The Bernice and Sonia.
The two new ones downtown.
So I didn't ask her to stop what she was doing. I simply said, can we back off this weekend and wait for the state inspection?
So
What would the state inspection have to do with what she
there's
was?
2 restaurants operating without permits.
Yeah, so that's pretty clear. Why should they operate without a
They
permit?
shouldn't,
It wasn't clear to me.
but they don't have permits. I was gonna bring this up later in the meeting because I was alerted to it myself. The restaurants on this island that have, whether it's the food trucks or whatever, they all have permits. You can't just open up a restaurant and start selling food to the public without a permit. 2 restaurants that I'm aware of do not have those permits. They should not be operating, correct?
I don't know of any other one. I don't,
These 2 new ones, correct?
oh, I'm
That's what we're
sorry.
talking
I
about, right?
apologize. Yeah,
So
What's the issue?
why shouldn't she be telling them to stop?
as I said,
The courtesy, yes, but
She's got to obey the rules.
they all do. We're all part of this town. We're part of the state. We're part of this country. There are laws. We should all try to follow them the best we can.
what she had was a 60-day license that was issued to her by Department of Health and Human Services. And she didn't have a hood inspection, which a third-party fire inspector has to do. And she was unable to find someone to do that hood inspection. And so she did have what is called a 60-day temporary license. And I asked to just back off for the weekend so that we could have some peace and wait for the state inspectors to come out.
Have they come out?
Yes,
Okay.
And
they said they couldn't shut her down. I mean, you can get Faye's take on this if you want. I'm not trying to hide anything.
Why do we have health inspectors? Well, why do you even have a permit then if you don't have to have one? Sorry, Donna, go ahead.
They said that Anna Hitu said that the inspectors came out and the inspection went fine and that she has everything that she needs.
So did they issue her the license then? I mean, it was
I
her,
don't know.
oh, but I mean, it's like she said she had it, but it's her word
I
against.
haven't told Faye to stop anything
Well,
since
I haven't
that
heard
one
anything about
weekend,
that.
since the state inspectors. I haven't said anything to Faye about it.
Okay, sorry, Donna, go ahead.
I think there was a lot happening before it even led up to when Marjorie was involved between Faye. Faye went down before anyone opened it all and found out there was nothing in order,
Right?
which everyone else had, does that before they open. And I think out of the kindness of her heart, I mean, I don't know this personally, I was not there, but it's my understanding that she said, you serve the food you had prepared. She could see they had a lot of stuff prepped, but then that's it. And no one listened to anything that she said or asked. And in fact, they've been nothing but disrespectful and rude, posting things on social media, terrible things.
Horrible.
And one of the employees stating that the owner doesn't like the rules. So I think we should support Faye and ask her, how things are going.
Yep, we
Yep.
should get a report from Faye. I agree.
Thank you.
I'll say this right now for the record. If you want to open up a business here on this island, that is fine, but you should go through all the hoops that everyone else has to do. Do that first. Don't do it after the fact. Do it beforehand. We won't run into these types of issues. Please, everyone, save everyone the trouble and the heartache and all that stuff going forward. Just try to set everything up before you start operating business. That's the way to do it. So,
There was also an issue about liquor license and some other stuff that I heard, but, and I had no firsthand knowledge, but it sounded like they were trying to pull some bullshit.
There was an ad in the Wind that said that they were gonna serve a free cocktail. So the assumption was that they were gonna serve liquor. So Faye said, you can't serve liquor. And she said that we're not serving liquor. But you could see how there would be an implication of that.
But there was also something about bring your own bottle, and I think there are some regulations even under that
Yeah.
thing where you have to
Still have to have a
buy.
license,
Yeah,
don't you?
Faye never mentioned that to me, but Faye did shut her down in the beginning, and there was a lot of back and forth in this building between Faye and the state and Anna and the state. And then a lot of people called me on both sides. I think she should stay open. I think she should stay closed. It was, a pretty big kerfuffle.
Yep.
So I just, for that one weekend, I said, can we just leave it alone until the state inspectors come out? Hopefully they will just shut it down and we'll be done with it. I didn't say, Faye, don't do your job. I didn't say, Faye, stop. If it was interpreted that way, I'll go back and talk to her. That wasn't my intention.
Okay.
Do you have to have a license for BYOB? You must have to.
There's got to be some sort of
Well,
license.
what I recall is like,
I mean, for every liquor license.
The
that
state,
we
I think
we
the
have to
town
sign
has to
something
sign
that's,
off on it.
Just
if I recall.
to serve, like, just to have alcohol in a place, you have to have it, right? Like, you can't
Yeah,
just,
they have to have all, like, some sort of permit.
right,
Yeah.
Sam,
That's unrelated to the restaurant, but also related to Faye, is that I verbally asked Faye about an issue with regard to the Arch building and other buildings and the codes that apply. And she told me I need to put it in writing. I put it in writing, and Marjorie said that that's a conflict of interest and Faye's not allowed to, or those were your words, but more or less
I
my
didn't say
message is,
that.
my message I'm getting is that it's a conflict of interest for Faye to investigate.
DW, we shouldn't be talking
But
about,
so I'm just
Yeah,
saying this
can't talk about
relates.
It's
to,
not
I don't feel
appropriate.
Faye is supported like in doing her job.
Yes.
It is her job to
Yes.
enforce codes like with housing and the question I had about something. And so if something's, Faye's not able to account for that issue, like who is? Like who's, is it Marjorie? Is it the?
Shouldn't be
Well,
talking
it's like
about
what
an
is-
employee.
Let's go to executive.
Hold on. All right. Message received on, we need, as a town, to support our employees. I'm always behind that. Personnel, we're not gonna discuss that here. So that's that. Is there any other speakers from the floor?
I'd like to say something, but it's about the new business, so I'll just wait until.
Okay. Are we good? Sorry, I'm not trying to cut anyone
No, I
off.
think the message, like that is the only
That's-
message.
Okay,
It diverted, but that's.
yep, that's fine. Personnel issues will not be discussed in this forum, so. Otherwise, all right, we'll move on. Number 7, committee and department reports appointment. 7A, appointment to the library board of trustees, Pamela Kittredge.
Is she the only applicant on this, or are there others as well?
How many seats are open? I mean, is there a seat open?
Yes, there is, I believe.
Well, there was Jill Oakes. I don't know if she's gotten back to us or not. She has a seat that expired in June of 2022, and she's never said whether she wants to still serve, but there is a vacancy, yes.
All right, so we have a vacancy.
I guess the question was, no, I've heard of other applicants, so that is the only applicant for the position?
It's just on the
Yep.
board, so,
The
This
only,
isn't to run the library, this
This
is
is
to be on
yeah,
the board.
yeah, so you get appointed.
the only person I know that has sent me a message is Pam Kittredge.
Okay.
Well, I would make a motion that we have Pam Kittredge join the Board of Trustees of the Vinalhaven Public Library.
What term?
Well, I don't know when they end.
I'm sorry, let's see. It would be 3 years to June 2025.
Ending on June 2025.
Well, Pam certainly appears to be qualified.
I second that motion. Any more discussion? All those in favor? 7B, resignation of sewer commissioner Jackson Gregory.
Motion to accept.
I reject his resignation. You cannot leave.
Oh, you can't do that.
I'm just kidding.
What if we don't want to
I'm
accept
kidding.
it?
Where was it?
I didn't want to accept it.
Put it on the back of Sam's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If
Okay.
anybody would like to join the sewer commission, please raise your hand now.
You have to be on the sewer line, or don't.
No, it's a town entity.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I didn't know, he said I didn't have to make a motion.
No, I'm just kidding. She made a motion to accept his resignation. Second, all those in favor? I mean, I don't think we can force anyone to stay on, so.
I tried
We
my
can try,
hardest.
but I don't think it's gonna work.
No, it
All
didn't.
right, 7C, Woodard and current status report. So they're just still working on the transfer station upgrade?
Yes, I have a meeting with him, person to person meeting on Friday.
Okay. So I was hoping we could get that out to bid
I
sooner
know.
rather than later. We're hoping to have it done, what, in May?
Yeah, they've been dragging that big time on this
Like
one.
actually have the work done in May. so. All right,
Now, are we waiting on a final report for the recommendations, or is that what we're waiting on?
No, you guys already accepted, or everyone accepted that.
we accepted the
Final.
proposed draft that they gave, now what,
Final plans,
final
final
plans,
designs.
so that we can approve and then go out to bid.
And then change what, when it comes back at too much money and just have a retaining wall down.
Basically, yeah, but we gotta go through the process.
We did a bang-up job on that.
It was very nice. I was down there.
I just don't park my vehicle up there anymore.
Up to the.
Well, some's gotta be
Well,
done.
I park it by the building and walk my
You're just
garbage
fixing the
out.
retaining
Oh.
wall.
Can.
I'm not
If,
gonna,
if the, if dumpster's fairly full, I don't think it would go in.
I'm not taking a chance.
Everything's insured.
That wall does need replacing.
Been working on it for at least 18 months. Design. I
Yeah,
mean, they looked at maybe moving it across the road. I
yeah,
mean,
we tried to get,
I
yeah,
didn't,
No, I'm just saying, we've done a lot of work on this that no one even
the
has.
guy
seen.
didn't, they wouldn't sell the property.
right. All right, 7D, Director of Public Works. That is you.
Millie,
Normally, see, when I'm home, I have my papers and everything,
I
and I
know.
have my whole list. So we had the mower man come in this weekend, however, we have to cancel him. We can't find a place for him to stay. So I will call him tomorrow and cancel that. I had a couple more possibilities today, so I wanted to check into those first before I threw the towel in there. Are you raising your hand?
yes,
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
gonna say,
Can I help you?
can he only come out? What was it, Saturday, Sunday, leave Monday?
Yes, I can clarify tomorrow with him when I talk to him. But he seems to do the mowing stuff on weekends, so I think that's sort of a side gig that he does.
Okay,
Not really sure,
so it
so
really needs to be done.
it does
Makes
really
sense.
need to be done. We also have the opportunity, this is his last time, and he's going to be selling all of his equipment. Trailer, mower, blades, lights, signs, the whole works. And he, off the cuff, gave me a price of $16,000. And I think Marjorie and I haven't really had a chance to look at the budget to see if there's anywhere we might be able to get some money from, but it might be a really smart idea for us to just purchase that
Yeah,
equipment.
yeah,
It's the whole setup, and then we can do it at our rate and throughout the summer months, and not just once or twice a year where we pay. I mean, if you think of it, in 4 years, that's paid for.
Like about $4,000 a year for him to do it.
yeah,
Yeah, his price is going up significantly, I think, this year because of fuel
Yeah,
and such, so. Throw it out there, you guys, you know, I know we're purchasing a truck and everything, so I'm doing it like this. You know, I think that it may be worth it, and I know he's taking excellent care of the equipment. When he does come out here, we can look at it. He also offered to bring it out to us if we did purchase it and do a training on it and everything.
oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, so more to come on that. And like I said, we'll dig in the budget and see how
I thought we
many pennies
had-
we can find.
a fair amount in the equipment, like, line to purchase equipment.
That's going to the new
In
truck,
the
isn't it?
operating, in the operating budget,
Yeah,
in the operating budget, there's 10,000.
okay. No, because I thought that was separate from the truck, because there was something,
That
like
is-
buying new equipment,
Hmm,
smaller pieces here and there. I mean, that's still short of the 16, but
But, you know, we might be able to,
we can find another 6, I think, if it's in our best interest to get that equipment.
I think it is personal.
Okay.
Right now, the crew, we're going over, I don't know how many culverts, but well over 1,000 culverts on the island. And the list has not been updated for quite some time.
What do you
So,
mean, going over, just going and looking at them all, inspecting them all?
Inspecting every culvert on the island. It's a lot of fun, but, you know, it's so dry right now, it's perfect time to get down in the ditch and peek in, so.
right,
We've been doing that this week along with, I've been in the excavators. Nick's having trouble with his legs, so he can't operate the excavator right now, so I've taken that over for a while. But yeah, culverts are we've got a lot of bad ones. I mean, some that have been here for 40 years or better, some we can't even find anymore. They're where they're marked and supposed to be, they're not there. So they've either been removed or not documented. We have a few that are dead-ended, like just have been buried. So looking into that and figure that out. What else? I hired a part-time employee to help out. I was talking to Marjorie and we budgeted this year for a foreman to work under me. And I feel strongly after being in it for however many months I've been here now, that I don't think we really need a foreman. What we need is an able body. Somebody that can, you know, lift, move, work. So I hired Brian Wright Jr. For 20 hours a week right now to see how it goes. And if it works well, then we may go into a full-time position there. And that will still, I mean, there'll still be money left in the budget there because we won't be paying a salaried employee full-time foreman.
That'd be good, or somebody else.
I think as far as I'm concerned, I think I can still manage everything that we're doing and the dump and parks and so on. It's really more of manpower that we need.
Okay.
So I feel that, I mean, so far he's worked one day and they got a bunch of stuff done that I've been pushing the guys to do and nervous about them doing it, so. Really about it right now.
The lines, any word on, update on the lines?
Yes, we are having trouble. I don't think we can get him out here this year.
Is there anybody else?
It's gonna be hard pressed. I mean, there's, I can only name 2 companies right off the cuff that could come out here, and one of them knows all the roads that's been doing it. And I'm also, I mean, this time of year, I mean, we're gonna have sand and salt on the road in another few months and
But it's a hazard.
I'm of the opinion we can make do through another winter. I know it's not ideal, but
not ideal, but I feel like doing it this time of year versus spring.
Let's not do it again this way, though.
that's,
Let's grab
Well,
it
that's-
early. This is,
well, we tried.
Yeah, it's not
It's not,
nobody's
it
fault.
wasn't a lack of trying. It just can't always get people to come out here and do things you want, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll have it first top of the list to get it done in the spring.
Yeah,
Okay.
can
I mean, he
you,
was supposed to be here in June.
Yeah.
so-
can you get on a list for next year now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on the list for June, so.
So we
Well,
should
then
be
you
first
think
up
it-
next
So we
year.
should be first up next year.
All right.
And I just wanted to say that somebody has graffitied the 2 signs at Lawson's. Peter's gonna go up and see if he can remove the paint or whatever. I don't know what they used.
They tried today, Boots Quarry was the same in one of the signs. When they finally found something that would take the paint off, it took
Took
All the
everything.
pain.
the paint off.
So I guess we'll have to buy
Sounds
more
like-
signs.
Okay.
Was it spray painted?
I think so.
So is there any way we can get them up high enough so,
Put
I
'em-
mean-
No, probably not, because you know, they'll find a way up. there.
Well,
They
that's
can
true,
Pick
but-
up
And
trash
if you
or.
put them up too high,
Put
then
'em
they're
up
not
too high,
gonna be
everybody's gonna
visible.
but no,
either.
I'm saying if we could get them on a, like a stop sign or, are they nailed to a tree?
Yeah, the Boots Quarry ones, yes.
So if we could get them like a speed limit sign on a post,
I think they'll still,
Those things.
they'll
how about some
well, could
game
we
camera?
try that?
we can try that,
Okay.
but I think that those come off easier.
It could be. I don't think
They
it matters
steal
what
'em.
we do, but
Say, if you put one of
let's-
those signs in, it's just gonna be at the bottom of the quarry.
Right.
Can you even get depth there on the ledge?
I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm
probably
just
not.
making a
Anybody got game
suggestion that we,
cameras
maybe
up
we
there?
could try instead of everybody, no. Let's try to think of a different method to sign up, if possible. If not, put them back on the trees. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Get some of that plastic stuff like they used to have to clean your basketball shoes and then you just peel a layer off when they. spray
Right.
paint.
It is just, I mean, between the graffiti, the stickers on signs,
I know.
stealing of the signs.
It's
I've got a whole
stupid.
nother list of stolen signs again that I'm getting ready to order.
Yep.
If you ever find out who it is, just send in the bill.
Well, you know,
It's a game
well,
camera
this
thing.
is actually, they have game cameras
Yep.
that can connect to your cell phones. We ought to purchase one and move it around a little bit, see if we can catch people.
As long as you can keep the camera hidden so that they don't know it's there, so they can't steal that.
Right.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
it's, but if it's advertised that it's out there,
Well, you
they
don't,
don't know where it is, they
And then
might deter people maybe.
and the other thing,
Yeah, two
today
cameras.
alone, we had 5 household garbage bags in the parking lot. Just today, that wasn't yesterday, yesterday was 3.
Which park, this park, Main Street
Yeah.
parking?
Yeah.
Are they going up to leave their
Just-
name in on any piece
Well,
of paper?
Rolly
and
said there
everything?
was a clear one and he shook it around a little bit, see if he could find a piece of mail, but
Okay.
he wasn't gonna go in.
No, I was just
And I don't
wondering-
blame him.
No, I was just wondering
But,
if
you
there-
know, no, we're not finding any hints on who it
Is it-
is. I
Isn't
suppose
there-
we could look at the town
I
cameras
was just gonna
and,
say, is there a camera? in
Well,
the
at
parking lot?
least they're putting it to be picked up and not throwing it overboard or in the
or in
woods.
the woods.
That is
I
nice.
suppose that's a step in the right direction.
I was putting bottles from Greta's down there one day and some guy walked by and he said, can you tell me where the nearest dumpster is? I said, there is no dumpster. You have to
Yeah,
go
it's
to
probably
the
people
transfer
coming in off
station.
their
So I know
sailboats.
that he came back later with his.
It's probably people coming in sailboats and renting moorings, there's no place to throw their trash, at least,
They get the one over by the bottles more than any of them,
Yeah.
I mean, it could
which
be.
is why
Yeah.
in the beginning of the year, I put them over. I put that can over on the other side of the Eagle. But, they wanted it back over there, so
All right. Anything else?
that's enough. Yeah.
That's enough?
It's nothing today.
All right, thank you, Millie.
You're welcome.
70, resignation from CeeLo Rise Committee, John Smith.
I'm not gonna make any motion.
This was his, I don't think that was in the packet, but that's his
Oh, I
line.
do
Was it in
have-
there?
I do
Okay.
have one.
I'll make a motion, we accept his resignation.
Second, all those in favor?
Is this a made-up person?
No.
Mr. Merrill always used to use John Smith for every check.
Yeah.
fake check
He
he
was
wrote.
he was a science teacher at
It's Jonathan.
school for a while, a few years.
Is he
I'm just
leaving?
asking, because that's what Mr. Merrill always used to do. He used to have John Smith sign all the checks.
Mhm.
I just said he was the science teacher at school for a couple of years.
Okay. No, I was just joking anyway. I figured it's a real person. And I've actually met him.
I think been to a couple meetings.
Yeah,
He
he
was doing
has,
the cameras, or the
Yep.
weather station, not
Yep.
camera, weather station.
been quiet. Yeah.
All right, move on to 8, old business, letter of intent, Water District Office relocation.
So this seemed a little bit confusing last time, so I wrote a memo to just review what has happened and what our attorney is suggesting. So what he's saying is that there are a lot of moving parts to this process. And the letter of intent would outline the process going forward. And if you agree to this, what he's calling the letter of intent, then he will approach the water district and fill in the timelines. One of my questions is, I'm not sure how we can fill in those timelines at this point when we're not really sure of the project start dates and the notice to proceed. But nevertheless, this is what our attorney is suggesting that we do. So I guess the question is, do you agree with the various components of this letter? It kind of outlines what was agreed to on May 5th and then again on June 15th.
I don't see why we might as well move forward, right? Get the ball rolling.
Mhm.
I realize we can't fill in some of the dates because we don't have all the
But
start
if
dates for
he's,
us, but
the intent is that he's going to work with the
Yeah.
water district and the water district
That's what I
trustees.
remember talking about.
yeah.
There's a possible motion for you written out in the bottom there.
All right, I move to approve the letter of intent concerning the water district office relocation and to ask our attorney, David Callan, to reach out to the water district to work out reasonable timeframes as they continue to draft the other pieces of the transaction.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, 9, new business, a purchasing policy.
Well, last meeting, you were telling me about anything over $15,000 had to go out to bid, and I wasn't aware of the policies, so I looked for digital copies. I found something, and then Darlene helped me look back into the minutes. And I did find in June 16th, 2016, that there was a motion to sign a draft bid policy with these changes. And then in the minutes, there were some changes that the select board at the time wanted to have made. Excuse me. I didn't find where the changes were ever made and brought back to the board for a final reading and a signing. So I guess what I'm suggesting is that we should have a first reading, if you will, and then we can bring this back to the board for a final signature. What I did is I went in and made those changes that you wanted back in the 2016 meeting, but I still think that you should review it and then you can come back and actually sign it if you want this purchasing policy to be in place. I don't think it was ever really finalized.
Was
So
anyone-
we've just
were you
been
on the board?
Going on it without it being finalized.
The only
for
thing I
6 years.
remember, recall is this.
When we bid in section 5.
Yeah, but I don't remember, I mean, like Marjorie said, it was never brought back. I don't know, Emily, were you on the board then, 16?
She must have been, I took her seat in 2017.
I don't remember.
I don't remember ever finalizing it.
Mm-mm.
We talked about it.
This isn't something, this is just a policy, so we're not having like a public.
No,
Oh, no, it's just your,
Yeah.
your policy. I mean,
Yep.
what I'm saying here is that a reason to have a purchasing policy and, for instance, having things over 15,000 go out to bid is to allow for competitive bidding. And more often in a mainland town, there are companies that get angry when a small town will always give their contracts to local people. They want to be involved in the bidding. Here, I'm not sure that we really need a policy because we know who will come and who will do the work. And if you want something to go out to bid, you can always say, I'd like this project to go out to bid. So that's just my opinion.
I agree with Marjorie on that, though.
I mean, it's
I don't
true,
know,
we-
in
we-
good business, you over 15,000, you really ought to be getting more than one.
which I
number.
think, as a board, we've always done that. It does come back to, sometimes
Understand.
we only get one bid.
If you only get one, but I
Yeah.
think as a policy, we should always look for 2 if we can possibly get them.
Yeah, I mean,
But we don't have to have a formal.
we don't have to have a
Mm-mm.
form
We
policy.
could just
That's-
ask 2 or 3 different people that are out here what they think it would cost if they could even do.
But I mean, since I've been on the board, when we've had projects that are over 15K, we have had a bid process. We've accepted those bids. And then we review them if there's more than one.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't think there's a problem if we have this policy enacted, because it was discussed, but then not actually signed, so.
Mhm.
I think it's a good idea to have a purchasing policy.
Right. I agree.
We can work up the details, but policy is important.
So what I would appreciate is if you would read this over.
Yep.
And then I will bring it back at the next meeting to try to finalize it,
Okay.
just to make sure that this is what you want.
I read it and it looks good.
Does that sound like a plan?
That sounds like a plan. Yep.
Do you think 15,000 is still a good number? Even the way everything costs more than it did
I
in
mean,
2016?
Could put it up to what, 20,
I know
25?
what I was thinking, 20, but
We could change that.
I was just asking if anyone thought, because
15 is a lower number.
15 in 2016 isn't 15 in 2022, is all I'm saying.
I'm not sure what number it is.
Right, no, that's why I was just asking if anyone else. Changed it.
All right, so we'll discuss that in the next meeting.
Talk
So,
about it for the next,
Nine
you're not gonna
B,
be here. so you wanna-
model, it'll be up to you,
Well,
Chair.
Is there a
yes, but
meeting?
would you-
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is
Nope.
there a meeting on the 30th?
That will be the next regularly scheduled one.
But you're not gonna be
I
here.
will not be here.
Okay.
Would you like to wait till you're back so we can discuss this?
He's gone for a
until-
month.
Yeah, you know. Do you want to wait till you're back to
Can you
discuss
Zoom?
it? Do you care about
well,
that, or-
If it's a 5 o'clock start here, it'd be an 11 o'clock start over there, so no, I'm not gonna be zooming in. I can read over it and give my thoughts before I leave, and,
Okay.
I mean, I'm comfortable with the board. If you guys wanna change the amount to a higher number, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with
Just
that.
want to check with you.
All right, so 9B, model aquaculture development moratorium ordinance.
I think, based on the research that I've been doing, I think that Donald Young was correct in wanting to look into this a little bit more. I did a memo. First of all, based on my experience, there are 3 different types of aquaculture applications. There's what is called an LPA, which is limited purpose aquaculture, a standard lease, and an experimental lease. I don't know everything there is to know, but we had a lot of aquaculture applications. So in Chesapeake, I mean. So I went on the website of the Protect Maine's Fishing Heritage Foundation, and they oppose 1,000-acre leases, but, and I was talking to Emily, that a standard lease is limited to 100 acres. So they don't even, DMR doesn't even allow 1,000-acre leases. I also found that this organization was originally created to oppose a single aquaculture site in southern Maine, and the organization was founded and spearheaded by Crystal Canny, and she's a lobbyist. I'd just like to talk to a few more people and investigate this organization a little bit more before we move forward. Just asking for your opinion on that. I think Emily came.
Emily, do you want
And I'd
to
also
comment
like
in?
to address this as a owner of 4 LPAs here in Vinalhaven. Just to assure you that this whole permitting process, even for an LPA, which is limited to 1,600 square feet of lease, we have to have a sign off by the municipality, by the harbor master, and by the selectmen. We also don't have to, but we always have gone to riparian owners to make sure that they have bought in. And we also have to be permitted by the Army Corps of Engineers, even for an LPA. So I think there's a lot of oversight, and at every level, when you go through the experimental lease, which is up to 4 acres, and the standard lease, which is up to 100 acres, the municipality can give input, and there are public hearings. And many times it takes, for an experimental lease, over 2 years for the process. It's not something that's done willy-nilly. The state's not just giving out these permits. They're taking testimony from the towns, they're taking testimony from the riparian owners, and they're taking testimony from the Army Corps of Engineers. So I just want to make you aware of that. Further, I happen to contract with the Maine Center for Entrepreneurs, and I work with a lot of aquaculture companies, except for the finfish companies. All the aquaculture companies basically are anywhere between half an acre and at the most 9 acres. So they're not huge conglomerates. It's also a little confusing in the memorandum, because in one paragraph, they talk about restricting culture of finfish in nets, pens, or other enclosures, or the suspended culture of any other marine organism. And then in the next paragraph, they say that they would temporarily defer all large-scale offshore commercial finfish agriculture development. So it's confusing in their description of the moratorium, exactly what focus is. And obviously, back in the 70s, for those of you who remember, we went through a whole process and turned down a salmon farm here in Vinalhaven. So just cautioning you to get the facts.
So my concern before was really just because Marjorie, you had said it should be, it felt like the town would give input and then the permit would still be given even if the town was against it.
Mhm.
Correct.
So is that the case, or if we say, no, we don't want this, the state's not gonna approve the permit? I guess, how do we protect ourselves that way? Because if we can have a public hearing and say, no, we don't want it, and they can just overrule that, would then putting in some moratorium like this help? I guess is still my question.
Well, the whole reason for the moratorium is so that we could come up with,
A new,
it was only for 180 days, or I guess you
Right.
could renew it for another 180.
right,
The moratorium was just so we could set up rules like, I mean, I think 100 acres personally is
Crazy.
crazy, like 5 or,
I don't know where you're gonna put a 100-acre
Well,
farm
I
out
mean,
here anyway.
Right now, there are two agriculture, Hugh Martin has 4 LPAs, I have 4 LPAs,
Yep,
and Peter Gasparini has 4 LPAs.
Right.
That's it. That's
Right.
all the agriculture environment.
right,
At this point in time.
right,
But a lot of the area is closed and
Closed for-
also because of overboard discharge.
yeah,
So is that from the red tide?
Red tide.
Yes, and
Red
also
Tide is
because
one
of
I remember.
also because of testing, DMR hasn't been able to come out and do any
Right.
testing, so they just closed the
Like
areas.
the climbing.
Correct, correct.
One of the things that I get concerned about, though, when you start talking about agriculture around here, is the effect on lobster. And we all are concerned about salmon farms,
Right.
you know, the dead bottom afterwards. We also, I would really want to make sure that we don't intrude upon normal fishing grounds around here. And one of the things, Margie, you mentioned was proof of actual use. Just the one of them. So, it might be advantageous some year to get some aerial photos of surrounding areas of Vinalhaven and show all the traps out there. So we can say these are legitimate fishing grounds and should not be considered for agriculture.
Well, prior to, I will say, when we moved our LPAs from Pleasant River and Seal Bay up off East Home, we actually had to submit those coordinates to state. And they actually had aerial photographs, so they could see. We also did our own reconnaissance in
Yeah.
terms of, is this any fishing area up here? But there is in the permitting process, and it's a whole chapter. You do have to also consider navigation, and you have to consider, fishing.
Well, I guess my concern is you could take a picture at one time of year and it shows nothing, and other times of year it shows a lot. So I'd want the pictures to be most representative of what we actually do.
I mean, in kelp, we seed our kelp in November, and all the lines are out of the water by May. So we're in off-season.
And if I remember correctly, we discussed all of that before we even agreed that
Correct.
to give the
yeah,
And
license
in
out.
LPAs, you have to have a permit every year, so we have to come back to
Yep.
get your permission every year.
well, if that's the case with those, I mean, and those are so non-intrusive, why would we want? I mean, can we just ban certain types of leases, like the
Salmon.
standard lease of 100 acres? Can we say we only want to have LPAs and experimental leases, or how would you write an ordinance?
Not to my knowledge, no, because I think that's the jurisdiction of the state. The state has jurisdiction over the
State waters.
state waters. Yeah.
yeah, I'm fine with,
So what do we, I mean, so
I'm
we
fine
can't,
on holding off.
you just said that we can't tell someone they can't have a lease for 100 acres. If we said no, they can't have a lease for 100 acres, the state could come back and say yes? Is that what you just said?
Correct, because the state owns the waters.
so what's the
So
point
what's
even
the point of
having
having
an ordinance?
an ordinance as a town if we don't have any control, if they just say, okay, you can still have your 100 acre lease?
I guess if you put it in place, then you could have more of a legal standing to go to court against
Well-
the state, I don't know.
Sounds like
What
something
they're
the lawyer
defining,
or the-
they're saying it's what do they call it?
Industrial aquaculture,
Agriculture.
Which they define as 1,000 acres or more.
but I think it was more that they were getting like
10 separate leases.
10 separate 100 acres,
Mhm.
There's a, I thought
Maybe
you said
get
you were
into it.
allowed up to 20, right?
10 to 20 or something, yeah.
So you could have up to 2,000 acres,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, they
So
were combining, they'd
Leases,
get,
yeah.
they'd get
they're
the
10,
100 or
100s,
whatever, and then
that'd be 1,000.
combine them, yeah. How many in the experimental lease? How big an area?
4 acres.
I'm sorry? 4. Sorry, I didn't hear.
I mean, do you want us to make a motion?
Up
Because
to 4 acres.
I'm
It's up to,
fine.
it's up to the selectmen. I mean, if you still want to have a public hearing, that's certainly up to you. Or the
Well, we should,
I'm sorry.
shouldn't we decide what we as a town would like to have? I mean, if people say,
I
come and
couldn't,
say
you know,
no finfish, I mean, if we can't even do it, what's the point of having a meeting?
That's what I'm
Seems like
trying to
a-
figure out. Like if the state's just gonna overrule us, even if we have,
I would,
a
I would
policy
do
in
some more
place.
due diligence and see.
okay,
Flora Drury, the state does a lot of the leases.
I've spoken to her a lot from when I was in Shabig. I did call Flora a lot for explanations about, you know, different permits and
okay.
what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, I would like more information, I guess, on what we can actually do, because I don't think we're looking to ban all aquaculture.
No, no,
like,
no,
That's not what I'm trying to do.
right.
But obviously, we don't want to have
100 acre
50, 100
leases.
acre, 200 acre leases around Vinalhaven, so.
Salmon are,
It's
the salmon are the ones that are the problem, right? Because that's.
That's the big
salmon,
one.
any finfish, you could, it's
finfish
just,
is yeah.
I don't know if there are any huge like oyster farms like that. There aren't any big ones like that,
I
right?
mean, Mooks is the biggest one. They're all in the Damascotta River.
Mhm.
But they all work together and there's no lobstering in the Damascotta
Right.
River.
Right.
Didn't she say the only thing that oysters leave is some kind of slime or something on?
I think she said when they turn something, there's some kind of spat, or I
Yeah.
can't remember what she said, but yeah.
All right, so let's get some more information on what we can actually do,
Thank you very much.
and then we'll go from there. Because yeah,
Can you just?
No, I think you need to be thoughtful, but I think you also need to know that.
right. All right, so I move to postpone indefinitely a public hearing on a proposed moratorium ordinance regarding industrial scale aquaculture development until we have more information.
I would second that.
All those in favor? All right,
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.
so 10, report of town manager.
So I just wanted to go back to this painting of the old fire hall. What is it that you want me to do with that? Do you want me to, we've got two estimates, one from the New Beginnings and one from Eldon Services. What did you want me to do with that?
Could I see the estimate? Could I read that?
So the New Beginnings one came in an email and I just wrote it down.
Okay.
That's 21,000 and the other one is 24,000. It's a little more formal.
Because I left, I had to leave the meeting before this came up.
Are there any repairs considered on
There's gonna be repairs needed.
that? The clapboards and. I mean,
I don't see how is there any way we can do anything, the money's not in the budget,
We were like 10,000 short, weren't we?
at least.
Well,
what
Not
I was-
including any boards or paint.
Marjorie,
What I was
Fancy.
suggesting, I thought I said it at the last meeting, is that the Mary Talbot funds could be
Yes.
tapped.
That's right, you did mention that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has anybody, the selectmen or any representative from the town actually looked at this thing and tried to come up with some idea where we are?
I'm not understanding your question. I'm not an expert on painting. What do you,
I think.
You mean on the
has any
building?
representative from the town
I've
looked at that building?
I haven't
and-
looked at it extremely close, but I have looked at it and there's a lot of rot So it's gonna need more than just paint, I mean,
That's,
So if that's the case, we really should somehow
It
get a
needs-
good handle of what we're looking
it
at.
needs many repairs prior to.
Everyone keeps saying,
I
oh, you
think,
won't know
um,
until you.
it
take
needs to be
down or
done.
something.
It needs to be done. I was
done.
looking at it today. It's a mess. And the
Yeah.
longer we wait, the more expensive it's gonna be.
right, but my thing is, I don't even think this 24,000 is gonna cover it, because once you start
Mm-mm.
getting in there, you're gonna find you have a lot
gonna
more
be
rotten
double
boards,
that.
and it's
Is
gonna
it
be.
I didn't look closely at rot. Is that the clapboards?
The clapboards, but you know, where there's rot there could be rot inside. You know,
There shouldn't be any,
I hope
well,
not, but you know, there can be, because
I
if
mean,
you've got a
they-
rotten clapboard, then water gets down in behind there and.
They-
It doesn't take long. but-
can you look from the inside? Is that, are the walls sheet rocked in there?
Upstairs, I think, yeah.
They are upstairs. I don't know
I
about
don't know.
downstairs.
I can take a look at it.
These old buildings are so airy though, that just because the
Yeah.
clapboards are bad, doesn't mean the timbers are.
That's true, that's true.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago when they redid the
The
whole
old
thing.
screws that I used to use.
It was,
Petrifies.
Yep,
probably what, 2010? Was
I'd
it?
have to go back
When
and
they-
look.
And why they didn't replace the clapboards when they were raising money to redo it
Yeah,
and put up.
They even say in this particular quote, like, any rot on clapboard need to be replaced by carpenter provided
Right.
by someone else. So like, that's an additional cost we're gonna have to incur. And this is all,
Is there anything in the historic places? Was that a line?
maybe we should just
Is there money in
take the
that?
worst
Historic?
side and
The
and
parking
look at
lot
and get
side,
that
I think
done.
the parking lot side is the worst.
It's
And
in
that's
my
not a bad
notes.
idea, Don, is to do
No, I
a
just
side a
shared it.
See
year.
where we are,
and
then we
see
have a
where
better
we are,
feel for
yeah.
what's next.
I
Yeah.
think that high
So-
bid
You know,
is,
Sometimes you have to
So
do a little
who
at a
would,
time to get it done.
Do an evaluation of the clapboards, or is that,
yeah, that's a good question.
Could you
It
get-
sounds like we'd have to get someone separate.
Matt Crossman to look at it. I know he's looked at work up, looked at stuff here.
I could meet with him too. You know, that's part of- I think it's in my job description. to
Because if we could get an idea of
work with
what,
Or Norman did the bandstand? I don't know.
how much rot, how much replacement, is gonna be needed before it can actually be painted,
Right.
that's gonna give us a better idea what the total cost is.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of one side to carry it out and see just how bad it is, and that gives us an idea of what we're looking at for the rest of them.
The parking lots facing the side, I think, is the worst, because I think that gets,
The most weather, right, the
Yeah.
wind and everything. yeah.
that was the side that I was looking at.
Yeah.
I
In the
didn't,
back.
I didn't walk around the whole thing, but
Yeah, I would think the one
I know Matt was up
facing the
here.
parking, the two
Oh,
sides
looking
facing
at
the
the-
parking lot.
Around the front and the back. That came up a couple years ago
But if we
now.
can get a better idea of what
Mhm.
the total work, then yeah, I say we go with that, the second offer. More, what was the more detailed one?
Mhm,
It was 24,000.
mhm.
I know it's more, but.
Audrey, do you want to contact them or do you want me to?
They
who,
do,
Matt?
they do good work, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
But I'm sure the carpenters are so busy, they wouldn't be able to do it this fall.
That's the other thing, like, when it's probably not.
How many jobs do they already have?
Right.
Well, it's up to 2026.
Yeah, I'm just saying, everyone's busy.
If I can't get a hold of Matt, is there anybody else that you would suggest or? Just have somebody that I can drive off the street and look.
Yeah.
If you have a suggestion,
Yeah, whatever you think.
we trust your judgment, so.
Anybody that looks like a carpenter, you
Yeah,
just grab
they've
it.
got a tool belt and a hammer, they're going in.
I still have my old tool belt.
Why don't you
I
go?
think I do too.
Tell us what it
I
needs.
could go look at it, but I'm not in business anymore, so.
I finally did have a conversation with Jim Knowlton about the ladder that you were asking
Mhm.
about. And he said that he's never seen a ladder on a float. Does anybody?
It's
He
not
doesn't
like
think
a,
it's,
not like a ladder. I mean, it's just something that somebody can use to crawl out of the water.
A couple runs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hammond
something.
sells them all the time, for
This is
full
like a
ladders.
dock, those dock places have.
Build them too, pretty easy.
I mean,
You can
just
buy them
something
for
so
$500.
somebody
he said he didn't think it was necessary.
I disagree. If
Yeah.
somebody falls overboard up there in the winter, it's not gonna be good.
They're not
I
gonna
mean,
get up over
the only
rocks.
reason that other person made it was because he had a way to climb out on the other
Mhm.
side, the North Haven side. There was a ladder there that he could climb out. Otherwise, he would drown. And the float,
No, I'm just saying the float is, there's not ample space there anymore. And I think, Floyd Brown added a float to it this summer.
yep,
So.
that one
we-
comes out in the winter, right?
That one comes out, yeah, and he just brings it over, I don't know.
It's
How
something that
it's
some
agreement.
person was getting rid of last year when they wanted something lower, because people were complaining the new one was too high, so he puts it on there in the summertime.
Okay, my thought though was that with the space issues, if the ladder's gonna stay on there year round, we're gonna wanna put it away from where boats are gonna dock, like up on the ramp end or something.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
I don't know
basically
you
what they
think.
were talking about, I thought.
That's what I was wondering, if it could go on the end nearest the shore.
Mhm.
I don't know, I admit that I don't know, so.
I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy by any means, but it would just enable somebody that, if they were alone especially and fell over, they might possibly be able to get
So is
themselves
it
out.
something that I could order and have Public Works install? I mean, I just don't have any experience with,
Those ones made for freshwater wouldn't last very long.
No,
yeah.
But I'm
I've
not
seen
sure
a
they-
lot, like I
they
know my
don't
father used to build them for
Have them for both
for
fresh
summer
and fall.
homes. And he used to just do 2x4s and
Yeah,
with like 3 rungs and they just connected to the float and then they had a little cross piece to hold it and then.
just like a ladder on a wharf. It's
Yeah.
basically all you need.
Yeah, be simple to make.
Yeah, and it probably, I mean, you could probably do it for $250 that way if you built it.
All less.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Lumber's come down.
has it come down? You know you're building a house.
Yeah, lumber's dropped a lot.
You're gonna go sell the stuff you already put in that was more expensive and buy the cheap stuff.
I bought cheap.
Well, I strongly suggest we put something up there. that
Not a bad
floats.
idea.
Thank you. The floats used year round, especially in the winter, a lot of people come and go.
I would suggest all.
What is it?
How about we
Don't fall
spotlight it?
overboard, but, I mean, I don't think this person intentionally fell
No,
overboard.
fine.
Put a lifeguard.
Yeah,
Well, and then you can buy those little cheesy rope ladders and you could just nail it on there and it'd be better than nothing.
That's true.
I think you could just put like what your father used to do,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Just flag bolted on it, it's there.
I'm gonna present, one of the next meetings, well, I guess you keep saying you're not gonna be here. I'm gonna present the wastewater budget. I sent it to the 2 Michaels at Maine Water, Michael Ames and Michael Cummins to review. I asked the sewer commissioners to review it. And then it's gotta come and be approved by the select board. So I'll be bringing that to you at the next, hopefully the next meeting.
Did you not hear back from them yet?
I did hear back and they said they would take a look.
Oh,
That
yeah.
kind of, they didn't, they haven't reviewed it yet. Like the questions that you had asked about how much do we need in the line cleaning?
Right.
That budget line and the UV lamps, if we need new UV lamps or not. I mean, some things are every other year, and those are just things that I don't know. I don't know what's been happening, so.
I don't remember what they said for how many lamps were left. But there was enough for the,
Yeah, that's why I just need to know from
Right.
them how much to put in that line. That's all I have.
Last meeting, we discussed about the possibly getting the new police chief in to discuss what they're doing. And I think we need to pursue that to see what there's been some radical changes. I did come in today and saw some numbers on overtime because Chad is no longer here. We had to have some other people come in. I think any overtime that was incurred during that time should be on Knox County for not having someone there, not on Vinalhaven.
That's right.
Yeah,
So I would not sign up a warrant personally that has that overtime on it right now.
Can you clarify that? I'm not really understanding.
There's a bunch of items on this warrant for overtime due
For
to,
Josh.
yeah. I think he deserves the overtime, but I don't think we should be paying it because the
Oh,
person,
but
yeah.
Josh was a call out.
I don't
for
care.
what-
But the fact is that we don't have a policeman here, therefore it's Knox County's on their, should be on their bill, not ours.
which one on here is for that?
Well, yeah, I mean, if the cop's out here and he's already worked his 40 hours, then he gets overtime. But
Yeah,
if he's coming from North Haven and he's worked his 40 hours up there, they're sending someone down here to cover their district that they,
That they didn't have.
that we're
anybody
getting,
here.
that we're paying them for in
Anyway.
our property taxes.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
so they shouldn't be billing us for overtime
Knox
to
County
send him
Treasurer.
down here. They could send someone from the mainland
Exactly.
or send him.
Are we paying them now? Do we pay them when there's no police officer available?
I think supposedly they've been giving us 40 hours a week, but I have no idea if they really have or not.
Well, I think we need an accounting of what they're doing, period. We need to move on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we do need a better,
And if they're just coming on the first boat and leaving on the last boat,
That's
that isn't the
bullshit.
contract. They're not meeting the contract, so they shouldn't be getting paid.
Nope.
$788 overtime.
How many hours regular time? Do we actually get 40 hours regular time?
I don't think so.
Just Josh.
After that cruiser got creamed, or whatever the proper word is, where did that go? Is that gone to the mainland?
They took both the
Both
DNR
vehicles?
truck and, yeah.
So if there's no vehicle down there, that means.
Well,
there's
they always
no-
bring their own
There is a
personal car
vehicle.
back and
There-
forth.
there is a vehicle.
There is a sheriff's car
There's
down.
a small car, not an SUV down there now.
Right.
Well, that was part of the last contract where they have to supply their own vehicle. Since
Right.
every officer in Knox County has their own vehicle that they take home with them anyway, they might as well bring it out here instead of us paying for it.
Well, we need the meeting to
We
lay
need,
out
yes,
what the expectations and what they're actually doing.
well, the 40-hour contract was, they had to spend they had some evening hours on every day. Sometimes it was till 10, sometimes it was till midnight, I think. So there's no way, if no one's been spending the night out here, that they've been meeting the contract since Chad left. If they haven't been 4 nights or even 3 nights.
It looks like 3 nights in late June. 4 nights the last Sunday in June, and then the last day of June, Friday the 1st and 2nd of July.
That
And
was,
the
that was
third.
when Chad got done.
You say Chad?
Once on Sunday the 9th, July 9th,
Good morning.
and they had,
Left the morning.
all right, this isn't. Why they have a North Haven fill in here? 50/50 town North Haven. Okay.
There's a lot there. We just need
Yeah.
to have, sit down and go through.
I think
what
Josh
happened.
is the closest, and it's been mostly call-outs. and it's come forward.
But we should have enough money in the contract that they don't need to. They better refund our contract money then.
Like, why are they?
If they just want us to pay for the overtime hours when there's a call out, that's fine. They're not gonna, we just won't pay the rest of the contract. So they have someone staying out here. Just pay I mean,
The paying just overtime would be cheaper at this point, I suppose. So, but yes, we still should meet, I agree, we should meet with the new Knox County Sheriff and find out what's going on, because
All right,
it doesn't seem like we're getting what we asked for. I know we're not getting the 2 deputies like we asked for.
we're not even getting
Not
half
even
a
one.
deputy.
Right.
They
2,
come out in the,
we never got
And
2.
it's shown.
come out in the 8:45 and go back on the 4:30. Is that what they're doing? I have no
Basically,
idea.
what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't seen them out here for the last 2 weeks.
And the county night is getting their 40 hours. in.
Doing Josh.
Okay.
But they drive through every other town during the day that doesn't pay. Like they drive down to Friendship, they drive here through all the
And
towns.
yes,
So
that-
just when Josh comes down here from North Haven, it should just be part of his routine on North Haven. It shouldn't be overtime for us unless he's specifically
Been called here.
been called here.
Right.
That's the only reason.
I agree. It's still part of Knox County.
All right, for District 1 or 2, I can't remember which one, but
Yeah, but
They
remember
have
what they
different-
said, Vinyl Haven is different. Remember when they said that?
Yeah.
Anyway, are we,
We're on to
Done?
report of members. Do you have something?
yes, I do. I would like to, see if the board would allow, for some Pilates classes to take place in the, late fall and winter and spring upstairs in an unused room. Couple mornings a week. If nobody's using that space.
I'm gonna abstain from all of this.
Yep.
what's the policy on room usage?
There is no policy that I know
I mean, that big room up there is, nobody uses. And it's not like, I mean, most of us bring our own stuff, of Matt. It's really no,
of. I don't have any objection to it. I mean, years ago, people asked if they could use that space. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce asked for a space and we gave them space, and now we have boxes of Chamber of Commerce stuff that nobody wants, and I guess the chamber is not active now.
no,
Anyway, and the veterinarian that uses the old fire hall, he wanted to use this space. And
that
he
done?
was denied.
Mhm.
So I think it would be great. I'm biased because I go to that class too. I guess it would be a way to rent out a space. I mean, we could figure out, charging per day or something if you wanted to make a little money. That space is completely unused,
What space is it?
but
Second floor.
but then you have this kind of the slippery slope argument. If we've always let nonprofits like the medical center uses our rooms for training or other nonprofits,
yeah.
and we don't usually charge anything for the use of the space. But if it's a for-profit business, then it changes in that it's, kind of that slippery slope argument that, well, what other businesses might approach us to use that space? And so we'd have to be careful to be consistent with.
Should we come up with some kind of a policy?
Another policy.
No, it
I mean,
wouldn't be a
if you
bad
want
idea,
to
though.
be, you want to be consistent, I mean,
Right,
if you had a
yeah,
policy,
right,
then you could say, this is allowed, this isn't allowed.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think we've had anybody, I
It'd
don't
have to be
think,
something that has community benefit.
I think it does have community
I
benefit.
know, I'm
definitely.
not saying it didn't, I'm saying that should be in the policy, that there is a definite benefit to the community.
Right. I don't recall, since I've been on the board, of a great influx of people wanting to go use that room.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to give a little background and history from years ago.
Yeah.
I know that when Dr. Karen came, we said, no, we didn't really want that activity going on here because it would be a lot of animals and people
Right.
coming and going, and it would a little more disruptive. And I think that's the only example that I can come up with. And then, of course, he was offered the upstairs of the old fire hall.
Right.
He's been there, seems pretty content with that space.
Well, that's what I would like to, that's what I would suggest, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know DW is not part of the conversation. Dawn?
I just think that we should have a policy,
Right,
and that policy should say there's a public benefit associated with anything we do here. And if we do that, then that rules out strictly for profit, but it would give us a chance to support community needs.
Okay, that sounds good. Jake?
Does the insurance cover stuff like that? I mean, you can just let
It's a
anyone,
good question.
I mean, if
think
you have
I would
people-
think that person's
Their own
personal
liability.
liability insurance would cover them, similar to when they use a separate space.
Right. It should.
Unless they fell and come
You just wanna add
downstairs.
that in policy, you must have a
They have to have their
well, I
own
mean, the school
liability.
wouldn't let us use the gym to play adult volleyball unless we got insurance for that. So I think we gotta make sure that everyone follows the same rules around
It's a
here.
good question.
Well, it seems any time that anybody does anything works for the town or whatever, they have to have their own liability, and with this shouldn't be any different.
The other, I'm sorry to chime in, but the other thing with this particular issue is if someone's coming to the class, they've already signed a waiver to not hold that person, the business liable if they get hurt. Similar, if you go any gym or anything like that, you gotta sign it saying,
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're there working out on your own, if you get hurt, it's not their fault. So if it needs to be an updated waiver that they sign to, you know, relieve the town of any liability as well, then that's something that could be added in.
Yeah,
In
you
the
need to
policy.
make sure that there's
Yeah.
no exposure for the town.
Right.
I'm following this because I think I asked Andy about that room for kindergarten a while back. Never got
Oh,
Right, so
it. Asked the old fire hall, asked the library. I've asked everywhere. So
I recall you asking about the fire hall.
I just asked Andy about this room or just off the cuff, but I sent in a proposal.
Oh,
Anyway, I'm following.
yeah,
What was it called?
kinder music. For, you know, little kids to
I don't
dance.
have insurance. I just volunteer.
It'll be another great little.
Henry hated it. Yeah, no, I don't want to go anymore. And it was nothing against you, Sam, at all.
does anyone have anything else? All I would say is, do you want to set the next meetings now?
Sure.
I have a question, I did have one thing.
Sorry, Jake, go ahead.
When were we supposed to have our election of officers, or did you have it when I was missing? Because we should have done that before now, shouldn't we? For this year, since
Did we
we have a
do
new
that?
board,
For what?
for you to be.
Yeah, no, we
You
did
already
that.
We
did.
We
already
did
did
do
that.
that.
I
We
must
did.
have
So it
missed
was
a meeting.
chair
So
and
I'm,
chair.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure we did it.
Yeah, we
thought I
know.
might have missed
We
it,
did.
so.
One thing, though, that we haven't done, which we talked about, was to go through the bylaws. Remember, we were gonna do that after, this past election, just
That's
because they,
selectmen town manager bylaws?
yeah,
That-
just because they need to be updated.
Well, let's.
When
do
you
that
get
later
back?
This fall, yeah. Sam?
Can I say something, even though it's not the time for it?
Sure.
Did someone mow the ball ground and should be thanked?
Yes.
There's a little question about on here, and Jake thought it had been mowed and it appears been mowed. Like,
Yeah.
yay, that was great.
Yeah, well, they,
I saw.
They-
it.
Has
We
been.
paid him.
Huh?
Sean did it.
yeah, no,
We
but
paid
I
him.
remember last winter we said, maybe you can try mowing it at the end of the summer while it's still dry before it gets wet, because he used to try and mow it in the,
Mhm.
like like towards the end of the growing season, and usually we get so much rain, it was too wet, so we couldn't do it.
Last
So
year,
he did
right.
mow it, like he said he was gonna, so we should thank him and thank him, but, I mean,
Yeah.
Hope he can do it again, maybe, because it'll probably grow back.
We pay him, right?
People were asking
Yeah.
online, and I said, I think it was, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure
It's
if
not
it
a
is.
volunteer necessarily.
no, but last year didn't get done because it was too wet.
Right.
This year it did get done, so that's good.
Right.
And someone remembered it, I didn't remember it until I saw it mowed, I was like, oh, good, they
I saw
remembered.
him giving
Pam
thumbs up
asked
on
me
the
and
other day.
I got in touch with Sean. Pam was the instigator.
Yeah, leave it to
Well, I
me.
totally forgot that he said he wanted to try doing it when it was
Well-
dry.
Well, the Parks Commission usually tries to pay attention to certain details, and that was one detail that I felt really bad about last year because people were so up in arms, but there was nothing we could
Well,
do.
last summer was so wet,
It was
you
terrible.
couldn't even have mowed it right now, probably.
No, it
wet.
it rained in
Not the
July,
problem
didn't
this year.
stop till
No, there's no
Right.
problem
May of
right
this
now.
year.
So, yeah, no, it was.
Cause I remember the year before, they had to drag him out with the town
Yeah.
tobacco,
Yeah,
because he got
exactly.
stuck in
Take
there
him
when he
out.
tried to do it, so.
Now, is there
Okay.
a limitation of how much of that they can mow? I noticed that they don't mow anywhere near like they used to,
Well, there's a
There
big
is-
ditch
there
all the way
is-
around
well,
there,
There
so
is
they
a
can't.
limitation, isn't there?
but
All
I
right.
think they're well inside the ditch. That was
let's get
They're
let's get the
waiting
next
sign.
select board
Thanks.
dates down, please, and then we
Is it
can,
the 30th?
30th will be the next one. Then if you just go every 2 weeks from there, the 13th and the 27th.
And 27.
The problem with October for me,
Thank you.
I would also be
See you, Millie.
gone that
See
second,
ya.
thank you, Millie, the
Thank
second
you.
week of October, which would be the 11th, would be the next, be the first one in October. I wouldn't be here. I'll be in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I'd miss like 4 meetings.
Well, we'll dock your pay.
Well, do you want to go,
Or
are
do
you
you
saying,
want
do
to,
you want to go to October 4th or?
that means you would meet back-to-back weeks, or you move,
Would you be here on the 4th?
I'd be here the 4th, yes.
Well, why don't we push the 27th one back to the 4th?
Okay, so then you have
The
one
27th is
30th,
September.
the
I mean,
13th, and then you don't meet till the October 4th. It'd be 3 weeks in between September and October meetings. It's fine
Okay.
with me.
Okay, would you give me
Oh,
the
wait.
dates again, DW?
Uh,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be gone from the 22nd to the, well, probably through Friday. I'm going out to San Diego for that,
In September.
September 22nd through September 29th. So I
Okay.
as well say through the 30th.
So, yeah,
So that
so,
would be good to move that meeting anyway.
so we'll do the 30th of August. Then you guys, or you will meet the 30th, then the 13th September. Then we'll have the 4th of October.
And if there's something pressing come up, we can
You
always
get-
have
yeah,
a meeting.
yeah.
In September again.
Yep, if needed.
Oh, okay.
It's only one
You
meeting.
jumped,
just have
you
one?
jumped like a whole month ahead of my brain even wanting to think about October.
Sorry.
Okay, 10-4, 10-4.
10-4.
Good
10
buddy.
for,
Okay, 8:30, 9:13, 10-4.
correct.
And if we need to meet at some other point in between, we
Right,
can
we'd
always,
know on the 13th
Yeah.
probably, so.
we can always do that.
Because Marjorie's gonna be gone and Donald are gonna be gone that,
That
on the
week, that last
27th,
week,
yeah.
Good.
So
right.
I think that there probably won't be anything too pressing that we can push it from 2 weeks to 3 weeks.
I think we should be fine.
I make a
Those prices
motion
we
to
deal with.
adjourn.
If
Second,
there's-
all
Oh,
those in
I was
favor?
just gonna add one quick thing. Yeah, all in favor. If there is anything pressing, we'll just, and he needs to be here, we'll just shelve it.
Right.
or you can all come over to Ireland.
That would be